It's fall here in London, Ontario, and I built what I thought was going to be a groundhog-proof fence halfway through the summer. So I had half the summer to test it against the groundhog. So in the first half, the groundhog had complete reign over everything that was in the raised beds, and it decimated them. And in the second half, it was out of luck. So let me show you what I did. So this fence has a overhang, and that's really the big thing about the whole thing. I spent a couple of days, kind of like you, looking for something that's groundhog proof and bunny proof, and was not having any luck. So I put together what I thought would be a good design, and then I handed it over to ChatGPT and asked how to do this, and it just confirmed that I'd come up with a good design with a couple really nice little additions. So groundhogs don't have upper body strength. So as they start to climb from the ground and they go up, they hit this overhang and they can't do anything about it. They just fall. Bunnies, of course, can't hop over it because, 3 feet is kind of tall for that. A deer is going to get right over top of it. This is not a deer fence. Anything within the raised beds that you want chipmunk or squirrel proof, yeah, you're going to have to build some kind of framework over top of it with wiring so that they can't get in. Basically, a giant sort of Faraday cage against them. So this fence has an overhang. I don't think it needed to be as far as this one is. I think like 10 inches would have been plenty. And the PVC coated chicken wire that's on this goes 1 foot into the ground at least, and then travels up roughly 3 feet and then comes over more than a foot in this case. The posts, I used T-bar and drove it 3 feet into the ground, and then an additional 3 feet was sticking above. And then I put 2-inch ABS over top of it. And while you're inside of a building store, you can grab the 2-inch ABS, slide it over top of the T-bar, and make sure that that still works for the ones that you were purchasing if you decide to go this way. There's also chicken wire just underneath the sod coming out a foot or more, and that's so that if the groundhog decides to dig, they hit the chicken wire. If they start further out and dig, they hit chicken wire. And because this is largely ABS and pressure treated wood, you can water it from your sprinkler while you're watering the garden and not worry about it very much. I think it would be really easy to build this entire bracket out of ABS and plumbing, and it would work just fine. I ended up going this route, and I ended up using Toya grid as the metal connections between all of the 4x4 posts, just because I wanted it to match our pergola. And I made this little release so that I don't have to reach underneath from the opposite side. When you're inside the garden, it's going to be really hard to reach over this overhang to get to the catch. So that's why that's there. One thing I would have done differently is that I would have made these posts that are into concrete, just like a fence, like a decent fence post. I would have made this whole thing taller, just so that I have more hinge options, and I would have made this gate taller, just so that the hinges aren't clustered all in one area, because there's a lot of tension right there. It works, but it would have been better to go higher. I decided on this length, or sorry, the width of the door, the length of these boards, because I needed to be able to get a wheelbarrow inside and out. And that ended up being the width of 2 paving stones, a small one and a big one. And underneath these ones are vertically a small and a big paving stone. So there's actually 1 foot down underneath this is another barrier. And then sonotubes with concrete going into each post and then up again. The PVC coated chicken wire is held on with zip strips that are UV resistant that I got online, and things are just tied in on each corner all the way along. And so far we've had no groundhogs getting through, and we've had way more yield on the garden than before. I hope that this whole thing's been useful for you and that you're able to make a groundhog-proof fence on your own. The dimensions and what I chose for materials are not important. That's up to you to decide what fits with your aesthetic. And honestly, I just monkeyed and monkeyed around until I came up with a good design. The big thing, of course, is the overhang and the 1 foot into the ground with the chicken wire. And that's just solved pretty much all of our problems on the groundhog front. Good luck with yours.